Yes, ladies and gentlemen, TrashTalk reviewers, TrashTalk did take a little bit of a break for 4 months to be exact, just a little break, but we're back now, and today's episode is with Himpleton, so without further ado, let's dive into it.
I forgot you used Craig.
Wait, did you know that you could actually interact with him? Why are you looking at me like that, man?
Dude, you got the whole squad laughing, dude.
It's too high intellect. Every other guest falls for it. Fucking Cameron F305 fell for it, bro. And that was the same one I galloped him on. Poor guy. well, ladies and gentlemen, and Slop Your viewers and Trash Talk viewers, we're back. Bro, this is the first episode back in 4 months, I think. Something like that.
Wow.
And we're joined with a former raped Himpleton. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. No longer raped. I'm doing the raping now.
True. Well, first question, not given by anyone in particular. How was your rape? How did that prepare you for your current raping?
That's actually a great question. So, if I had to, it just made me rough around the edges. Okay, it made me a lot more willing to take some hits. Okay, and
I'm sure
so
it did,
now,
buddy.
yeah. So now when I take some hits, when I take some unconsensual touching, okay, it doesn't affect me as much, right? And I'm just ready to touch right back. It's as I said, okay, fatso, Jesus Christ.
Damn,
but
calm down.
It's as I made a diss track on Morale probably 6 months ago at this point. But the best line from that diss track is, "I got raped, so I know how to rape them." Okay, and I think that just encapsulates it.
Well, it's like work experience where you get a bit of experience and then you go on to actually do it.
Exactly, it's on the resume,
Yeah, so when it came to IA and Parlo, you were the top orber, you were the top inquisitor of it.
Oh yeah. It
was some good stuff.
I knew exactly what to do because I've been there before.
No, well, exactly.
No, I'm fucking done being simple. Why'd you fucking do it, Himpleton? Why'd you fucking do it?
Why did I gay up IA?
No, we get to that later, you fucking weasel.
Okay, so which one is this
roach.
one? What's this one?
Why'd you do it?
What did I do this time?
Your acting career.
My acting career? Wow.
Well, look. Last time we tried to do Trash Talk, right? We're not gonna talk about the reasons why it never came out, right? Probably something to do with the third rape that happened.
We can. It was the fourth, actually, but we can talk about why it didn't come out. I think it's really funny. I really do. I think it's. No, I was acting. Listen, no, I think it's important. Okay, in all seriousness, I genuinely think it is very important when, especially for somebody like me. I don't expect other people to do this, but for me, it's really important to reflect back and laugh at the way that I've made mistakes in the past, because that's how I fucking grow and change. You know what I mean? And so
yeah.
Last time we tried this, it was so traumatic for me that I have, for the most part, blocked it out. I only remember that it was one of the most raped experiences of my life, and the entire time was just being a little fucking defensive freak. That is pretty much the extent of my memory.
Well, yeah, because there were 2 times, right? There was the time we where it was just me, you, and we had Chris cucking in the corner.
Yep.
And I remember the main conversation at the beginning being acting, all good, going on to Larix, and you being Larix's co-host. And that was just some fucking top tier stuff. And then Chris kind of guiding you through some stuff. But the one that stands out to me the most, like we were talking about before the big Trash Talk episode, was the one with the Topic Podcast, right? For those of you who don't know, the Topic Podcast is just, going through the weekly topics of commentary, what's going on from news type of stuff, right? It was me, Ace, fucking Amo, CB2, a couple of other people. and we were talking about CB2 getting touched, and I went, speaking of rape, and Himpleton got off on his high horse and went, oh, now all the content's going to be about me, is it? Is it my turn? Are you turning me into content? And I sat there with the most glazed facial expression ever, because I've just heard 50 minutes of CB2 debating, and I just found out he threw me under the bus on stream as a fucking human shield. And Himpleton is like got all up on his high horse because I mentioned the word rape and he thought I was about to touch him. It was never my intention to talk about it. So I just, as soon as you said that, I decided to talk about it.
Which, like, as you should, right? Because dude, I cannot emphasize how raped it is that, like, I hear the word rape at that time and I'm literally like, oh, okay, so it's me now. Like,
my turn, is it?
That, I mean, that just affirms the fact that that was like half of my identity at that time. Like, that is just, it's so touched, dude. It's so bad.
It was like a 2-hour shit fest, and none of it could come out because I was like, I like you were already getting so much shit, and like I think, but like when I wanted to drop it, Amos had just leaked the private call that we had.
The mental health check-in, of course.
Yeah, the mental health check-in. We were like, Amos, don't record. I'm not recording. Gets his OBS.
He starts recording it after agreeing not to record.
Yeah. So
Conveniently doesn't record the part where we all say we're not recording. That's the best part, dude. I love that.
Fuck me.
So I was like, look, I'm gonna be nice. I'm not gonna drop anything. I'm not gonna do that. So unfortunately, that amazing 20-minute conversation about acting kind of went out the window because it was like covered in like lyrics and rape gunk.
Right.
So let's talk about acting. How are you connected to acting? What's all that about?
Yeah, so like I started acting. It's a really so the story of how I started acting is actually funny. I started acting when I was around 11. I went to an all-boys school, and I started because I found out that we partnered in our plays with the all-girls school that was near us, and so it was like a way to interact with women in the school. Okay,
First time for everything.
That was literally the reason I started it, and I just started loving it after that. I genuinely, like, I fell in love with it, and I ended up doing almost, I think I did around 16 plays throughout my school career, and then after that, I went to college for acting. I double majored in acting and philosophy, and I took a what's it called, like an exchange semester or whatever, and went to Ireland and went to, you're gonna love the name, the Gaiety School of Acting. And yeah,
that's how you did acting those dramas. That's why you had to, how you did it.
I know, right? And
it was day school.
It was very but that school, people like Liam Neeson and Colin Farrell and like graduated from there, and Michael Fassbender, the guy who plays Magneto, and he's in Inglourious Bastards, he's in Band of Brothers, he's in a ton of really good movies. He came to speak, and I ended up getting to have like a conversation with him, and he told me I was going to make it, which I'm sure if he saw me now, he'd be very disappointed. But
you made it in your own way, Himpleton.
Yeah, that's so true. And then so I was supposed to be the lead role in a 2-person play for the final project in the Gaiety School, and for that performance, actual film agents go to it because of how good of a reputation it has. So like it can be your big break. 2 weeks before that happened, COVID hit and I had to go home.
That's rough.
It sucked. It sucked, man. Like, and I was despondent for a long time about it. I look back on it now, and I'm genuinely glad that it happened. Because I am, I really do not like the traditional method of kind of making it in the kind of film world. And I don't really want to have to cuck myself and take on roles that I don't want to take on and stuff like that in order to like make a name for myself or something like that. So you know, like I see these like what I really want eventually is to be a filmmaker and you know, direct and that kind of stuff. And you know, I love acting too. Like but like I see these people like Raka Raka and like Jordan Peele and like the guy from Whitest Kids You Know who directed Weapons. There was a film reviewer guy on YouTube who recently directed another horror movie. Like I see all these people and it's a huge inspiration to me because it shows that you don't have to take this traditional route in order to make it into the mainstream film world. And so like people like that just, you know, I see that and I'm just like, dude, there's actually a chance for me to like potentially break my way into this eventually.
No, for sure. And like after COVID ended, was there a reason you didn't go back into it?
Yeah, so there's a couple of reasons. The first is kind of as I was talking about earlier, like it's just one of those things where like I'm like a little bit of a what's it called? Like a pariah in the fact that like I don't want to have to just take what I can get. I want to be able to be selective about what I want to do.
Yeah.
And that was part of it. The other part of it was I really started getting into the tech side of things after COVID. I got really into audio design. I got really into kind of the voice acting side of it, and that's when I realized that I actually, in a lot of ways, enjoy voice acting a lot more than I do regular acting. And so that's kind of one of my big things that I'm trying to do now is like one of the big. So I'm saving up for an actual PC because I've been using like a shitty a gaming laptop since 2020, and the computer was already like 2 years old at that point. And so I'm trying to get my own PC and then upgrade my mic setup so that I can actually pursue the voice acting thing a little bit more seriously.
No, for sure. Somehow you still got a better fucking computer than Ace does, and he bought one recently.
My computer's awesome.
Yeah, sure, buddy. That's why you sound like a potato. But is there like a plan for like that? Like, would you balance that with doing commentary stuff, or would you just leave the streaming stuff and commentary behind?
So it's okay. So I have like a three-pronged approach here. I've said this multiple times on like my lives and stuff because people will ask me about it because I made it very public that like I want to get more into voice acting and that I want to start making non-commentary videos on a different channel.
Yeah.
And so the question is always because people have like PTSD with like lyrics and people like that who just kind of abandon the community. And so, you know, my response is always like, I'm going to continue doing commentary as long as I find it fun. And I find it very fun right now. So, you know, I have no plans of stopping, even if my other channel or voice acting became successful because I enjoy it.
Sure.
And so it's like, I intend to kind of just do all three. And I want to get to a point where, you know, that those three ventures are paying a lot of my bills so that I can put more effort into all of them.
No, definitely. Is there ever a concern that stuff that you say and do with your commentary stuff would ever affect any potential voice acting stuff?
To some degree, sure, but I wouldn't say it's a concern in so much as it's like an afterthought almost. Because here's my thing. I've made my bed with it, you know what I mean? So it's like, if people are going to not consider me for clips that I've already said, it's kind of already too late. I'm going to continue to be the person that I am and, you know, be like hyperbolic and offensive and edgy and all that kind of stuff. And if people don't want to work with me because of that, then that just is what it is to me.
No, for sure.
Like, and I don't ever want to get to a point. I understand kind of toning it down for an opportunity potentially, but I don't understand this thing of like completely switching who you are to conform to a new or more lucrative audience. Like I don't know. I'm never gonna switch up that hard. Like I would if it was the potential of an opportunity, I would tone it down. But if it's one of those things where I lost an opportunity because of it, I'm not going to cry over it.
Well, that's kind of what Lyrics did, right? Is he did like the full 180 switch to cater to his new audience and to capitalize on the opportunity, and it backfired horrifically because he went
Right.
straight to the other end and started disavowing stuff that he said like 4 months ago.
Well, and it's
and it just doesn't work.
Well, what's really funny about the Lyrics thing, and this is kind of fresh on my mind because I covered it on Sunday. I had never seen the Chud Call until Sunday, and we directly compared his fight with Rose Malay, which was kind of the last appearance of commentary Lyrics. That was around 7 months ago. We directly compared that to the Chud Call because we watched it right afterwards. And what's even more interesting about it, there's a huge switch up between the 7 months, but even more interesting, in that Chud Call, which was just like a week or two ago, he verbatim says, I'm always going to find rape jokes funny. I'm not going to like stop finding them funny or anything like that. It's just I'm not going to make them publicly or whatever. But then, a few days later, he goes to Aiden's DMs and tells him that some gay joke that Aiden made is terrible because it's harmful to gay people. And wound up like crashing out on him over it. And it's like, dude, wait, so rape jokes are fine, which are far more offensive than gay jokes, I would think, right? If we're gonna like do some kind of weird like moral faggery
Power
like
scaling
ranking, right?
Yeah.
But then it's like gay jokes are harmful and evil, apparently. Okay. So like even within like a couple of weeks, he is reversing his own opinions. And my whole take on it was that he was kind of in that Chud Call, he's trying to have his cake and eat it too. And he's also trying to be in like 2 different places at once, where he's still trying to get respect from commentary while simultaneously trying to cuck to his audience and, let's be real, to Kai, okay? Because this is certainly a more localized Ian Anissa situation. Like, let's just be honest, right? That's my conspiracy theory.
Well, I mean, she ominously was standing behind him in that Instagram video. Literally, there's a metaphorical leash there. Like, very, very clearly.
Can we be real? Like, I had this take when I saw the fucking, like, Hello Kitty BPD girl cosplay. Like, I genuinely don't think that they have any form of sexual contact except for Kai pegging him.
Yeah.
I genuinely think that.
And that's how they like it.
I mean, hey, if that works for them, then more power to them, I guess. But, like, good God, it's bleak.
We'll see. I think the problem with Larry's as well is it is such like a 180 switch. I mean, I knew he like he was always painting his nails into his music or whatever. But this stuff is such a 180 switch. I mean, if you look at his Bo Black's coverage, for example, right, how he's talking about Bo Blacks being trans and that type of stuff, it's such like a 180 to how he talks about it here, the stuff that he's doing here. I mean, even when it came to someone like Bo Blacks, when he transitioned and when he's doing his whole thing, it was so 180 because it came out of nowhere, him like flashing his dick on OnlyFans. As soon as it's 180, it comes out of nowhere. That's when you get the most backlash for it because it's inauthentic.
Right. Well, and on top of that, like, you know, I recognize that, like, I'm probably somebody who people are going to be a little weary about me shit talking specifically lyrics because of the fact that, like, I was pretty fucking jaded and butthurt with him in the past. But, like, I genuinely put all of that aside, especially after, post-raped recovery from, like, all my crash out stuff. And, like, when he started the music stuff, I was happy for him. Like, it was like, listen, get your bag, man, Like, that's great that he's getting actual success and stuff. But it's like, the problem is, just as you're saying, it's this 180 switch up, and it's this, like, it's this whole thing of, like, genuinely complete polar opposite behavior. Like, Chud illustrated it very well when he talked about the whole fact that, like, people used to make the Larissa fan art, right? Back when he was lyrics and doing the commentary stuff, he would get so pissed off. He would be so mad about it. And on top of that, I mean, I'm a great example of this. He hated parasociality. He got so uncomfortable and pissed off by parasociality. And now he, like, leans into it. to a weird degree. And it's just like, and it's the same thing with Finboy edits, where now he's like getting these like versions of him as like a Finboy wolf furry freak, and then being like, wow, this is so cool. Wow. And it's just like, what is going on? Like, what are we doing? Okay.
Well, it's like it's kind of like, where do you draw the line on trying to like get that type of audience? Because it's one thing for him to switch content and do something entirely different, which he's in his own right to do, right? And he could have easily just done the music stuff and stay true to his own opinions, his own beliefs, or whatever. But it just feels like not only is he being cucked by Kai, but he's like cucking to his own audience, right? That's what
It's
it feels
certainly
like.
that. He's certainly leashed by his audience. And like on top of that, like to like very slightly push back on what you just said, I think the question needs to be begged. Because you're almost, and I don't even know if you're like saying this as like a purposeful thing, but it's like what you're almost saying is that he's cucking to his audience now, and that's not who he was. But it could go either way.
Oh no, for sure.
Either he was being inauthentic and fake when he was lyrics, or he's being inauthentic and fake now. But like he's in this position because of the way that he's behaved, where one of them has to be true.
Well, yeah,
And I don't know
because
which it is.
Well, I mean, you could definitely make the argument for lyrics being the more inauthentic one, purely as well because of the switch that he made when he was doing the whole anime stuff, and that it was actually quite close to what he was doing now and how he's acting now. You can definitely make that case, and you can also make the case that even when he went into the music stuff originally, it wasn't an instant switch. He was still like,
Right.
very like lyricsy. He was still doing those streams, still making those jokes, and it wasn't until you know properly recently he started becoming more cut by his audience. I mean, it was slowly starting to happen with certain dramas and stuff he was finding himself in the music stuff. I mean, ultimately, I think it's a blend. I think it's a blend of inauthenticity. Where in both commentary he's trying to cut to his audience to try and appease them, and then here he's doing the exact same thing. I think it's a very mixture of both.
He could just be a
like-
chameleon as well, to be honest.
I was about to say it could
Sure.
just be a turbo
Yeah.
grifter. Like, I mean, that's
Yeah.
a possibility.
Yeah. I mean, I just think he's an incredibly inauthentic guy all around. Somebody who doesn't really have a backbone, somebody who doesn't really have a moral compass, somebody who will like fold either way. It's genuinely just whatever suits him best. What
Yeah.
brings in the money? What keeps people on his side? So it's good that you wouldn't do that if you went into acting and did your voice acting stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's so. I mean, listen, you like, this is probably not the best example because the guy has been saying some of the most dog shit takes I've ever seen recently. But like, in terms of purely staying true to yourself, somebody like Quentin Tarantino is like a good example of somebody who is able to pull it off, and it does not affect his baseline. Like, there are people who fucking hate the guy. He's very divisive, but he's able to succeed while still just being his true, unfiltered self. And I mean,
No,
like,
definitely.
it's just living proof that, like, yeah, it's going to be kind of harder, but it's worth it because you get to just be yourself rather than like playing a character even when you're not on the screen.
Well, yeah. There's no point in doing it, right? I mean, yeah, you get an audience, but you're not really yourself. You're not actually having an outlet, right? You're catering to an audience. You are literally leashed, right? You are leashed to your own audience. And you know you're kind of trapped in that. You can't do anything else creatively. And that's where a lot of people become creatively bankrupt. Because ultimately they can't really
100%.
do anything else, but you know, fold into their own audience.
I mean, I was actually just talking about this last night because of this is such a funny example because of me, but like we were talking about Joker 2 and like how they literally went from just this amazing fucking movie that genuinely encapsulated like class struggle in a comic book movie, which is like, how the fuck do you do that? Just great work, to getting backlash from not a lot of people, from a very select few people who are very loud and completely cucking to those people. That's what Todd Phillips did, because the Joker 2 is literally just a reaction to the backlash from Joker 1.
Yeah.
And the results of it are exactly what you're saying. Complete creative bankruptcy.
Yeah, it's a complete 180. And I mean, it always reads when it's all complete 180 and it's a complete opposite. It will always read, regardless of what the case is. It will always read as incredibly inauthentic.
Yeah.
That's why an audience won't ever take to it. Like unless you're a new audience coming in. That's why pre-existing audience will never take to that because it's incredibly inauthentic. It's like if I turn around tomorrow and I was in full like fucking like dragon makeup. Right, completely out of the brew, completely inauthentic. I would literally have no business doing it, and I'd get fucking raped to oblivion. Right? It would make complete no sense.
Let's be honest, though, Sam. You're literally just saying that so you can gauge the audience reaction to see how it would land.
Yeah. Give it 2 months. Give it 2 months, and I'll be exactly what I like, bro.
It's like, wouldn't you guys hate that? Haha.
Wouldn't you hate if I came out in a wig and lipstick? Well, look, the next thing I want to talk about, because this happened, or at least the calls came out after our last trash talk, because I don't really want to sit here and relitigate stuff like Mr. Sen. I've got no interest in doing that. Yeah, because you're cucked, right? You still got to make a Mr. Sen video from like 3 years ago, mate, right?
Yeah.
But I've got no interest in like relitigating like Mr. Sen stuff, or particularly covering your like crash, like your first crash out. Properly. There's no point in doing that. It's all public. It's all out there. There's no more questions I can particularly ask you on it.
It's also been covered to death, right? So I'm not going to tell you anything new. I mean, I'm happy to talk about it, but I'm not going to tell you anything that you don't already know.
Well, yeah, it's just a bit boring at this point, right? Everyone knows. But the one thing I do want to talk about, in particular from that time period, is the jar calls, right? And more importantly, because you know they came out through Ace as well.
Yep.
So what was it like having those calls with Jar? Because of course they were very venty on both sides. So what was that like?
Yeah. So, I mean, to preface, I will give a take that's like minorly related to the crash out stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I regret in the Jar situation is talking about it on a live in the first place. I am so glad that I continuously lied and said that it wasn't a gay op. I'm very glad I did that, because when I did that, we were only 2 out of 13 calls in. Okay. So the only way I got those other 11 calls was because, and now mind you, if I hadn't been a fucking retard about it and talked about it on a live, it would have never been a problem. But I had to literally be like, it's not a gay op. It's not a gay op. It's not a gay op. Like, to get the rest of those calls and the rest of
my
that
friend.
Yeah, he's my friend. Fuck!
Dude, actually, I do gotta ask about like something, because I watched all the calls, obviously had to make sure like if it would be public or not. I gotta ask specifically for like call 6, man. Like, the one that like, a lot of like, your controversies happen, right? And like, I think like, the notable ones have been covered to death. Why did you even record that one? Like, you're literally just venting with Jar the whole time.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
After like the first week of controversy, you went to have a call with Jar, and you vented about like how much that was affecting you in that call. And it's like, I like, even like, dude, I to be blunt, it kind of felt like some of those calls were just like a trauma bond, unironically, because I think when you said like, oh, I probably wouldn't understand like what it's like with you though, Jar, and Jar's like, no, don't do that. Don't compare traumas, okay?
Don't do that, kitten.
It's like don't make your trauma less than mine just because I'm a bigger guy, or like some gay shit like that. It was like the most cucked call. The only thing I would like wonder is like, why the fuck did you record that, man?
It's quite simple, right? I mean, we all know how I was behaving during that time. Okay, it was not logically right.
Yeah, but you see, I get the other ones.
Every single call that we did.
So just
every call that we did was recorded.
Okay, so that makes a bit more sense, but it's just like, fuck me, man. That there was like nothing of value added really with that. Like there was some things, but like,
I genuinely didn't even know that was one of them, to be completely honest.
Yeah, that was the one that you gave me, and I'm like, yeah, I need this, and you're like, okay.
But no, you said that, and then I sent you 11 calls. Like, I know. I mean, that's the thing. So and by that time, I had been so far removed from it that I had, the most that I remembered was the Josh the Josher stuff.
Mhm.
So, and that's what I was going to get into. So, like,
Yeah.
the jar calls started out as me very clearly trying to get information out of the guy,
Mhm.
right? After a certain period of time, I was planning on doing you know what's so funny? I
June
was
the King
planning on
style
doing
video.
a June the King style video. Then June the King made a video on him, which is
Dude,
so funny. Like
he
I,
copied
I
you.
like, dude, he fucking stole my idea, dude. Um, and I was not, I'm like shown in one single screenshot of that, and I felt honored. Okay, I was like, wow, this is awesome. I can't even believe I'm mentioned in this, but not even named, but you know what I mean. Like the fact that an image of me is in a June the King video, because I mean that guy's a huge inspiration to me. But like I was intending to do that originally, and then I lost interest in it. And what I started getting interested in was because Jar himself mentioned it, Josh the Josher.
Right.
And Josh the Josher was this guy's former editor who is a giant schizo, has groomed multiple people, and generally just kind of classic lolcow material. And when around that time that was happening, that I was looking into that, I ended up I'm not going to name any names here out of respect for those people, but I ended up getting reached out to or reaching out to. I can't remember how that went, but I ended up communicating with several people who had been kind of involved with Josh the Josher, not in like a collaborative aspect, but they used to kind of be friends with him and then realized what a terrible guy he was, so they ended up confronting him. And so I got a lot of information from that, and when the crash out stuff kind of took full effect, they completely ghosted me, which I 100% respect. I completely understand why they
Yeah.
wouldn't want somebody in that mental capacity covering very serious allegations. But so that was it morphed from a thing of like, I want to get information out of Jar and I want to make a video on him that is somewhat neutral, but also very, like, of course I was going to fucking take some of those clips and meme on them, to I'm interested in this Josh Josher stuff. I want to find out more about that. And then a couple months pass by. I realize I'm not going to do anything with the calls. I mean, Ace can vouch for the fact that initially, when he first mentioned it to me, because he mentioned it to me probably around a month before I actually sent him the calls, I was very, very, very hesitant to do it, and straight up told him no for a while. And eventually, I was just so separated from it, and honestly, like at that point, I had taken some time off. I wasn't streaming, wasn't doing anything. That I was just like, fuck it. I think I did end up sending them to you, Ace, around the time that I started streaming again.
Yeah, because you did like talk about like saying like you brought it up like you're like hyping it up and like yeah, just gave Ace Space another call. Make sure to check that guy out.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And which at this point would have been around 9 months ago.
Yeah, a while ago. Fuck me.
Yeah. And so it was one of those things where like I was like, okay, I'm going back to streaming. Might as well start it out with a bang. Like, Jar and I don't talk anymore. He, whatever. What's really interesting about this, though, it's public in the fact that, like, if you were around, you would know that it was happening. But it's not public in the fact that, like, not a lot of people have talked about it. What's interesting about that is after all of those calls came out, Jar and I legitimately kind of became, I wouldn't say friends, but we were pretty friendly. And he was in my server. He and I made an agreement with each other because we were in some private calls with just a group chat I was in where we were just kind of playing Rocket League and chilling. And I maintained this before I leaked all the calls, and still would maintain this to this day. Like, Jar can be. This is kind of a rape take, but I don't care. Like, Jar can be pretty chill when he's not drama brained. He can be. He can be like a chill, kind of funny guy to like hang around with. And so I made this agreement with him where I was like, listen, man, if you because he made it very clear to me. He was like, I'm never gonna do drama again. I don't ever want to do drama again. It's really bad for me, and I don't like who I am when I do it. And I was like, listen, man, if you never do it again, I'm never gonna cover you again, and I'll never leak anything else between us, and blah blah blah. But and it came with the caveat. Like I was like, I'm gonna be fair about this because I'm not gonna do the gay op route. I'm gonna be very like direct about this. If you do it again, though, I'm going to cover it. Of course, I'm going to cover it. Cinny Bear Part 2 comes out then, a couple months after that.
Dude.
So naturally, I cover it as per what I told him, right? And part of that involved leaking some of his DMs where he was trying to defend it to me. And that was the straw that broke the camel's back, finally. And he blocked me. And I've only spoken to him once since then.
Which is crazy because he still has not even blocked me, which apparently he hates me. So like,
well, I don't know if it's a hatred in so much as a fear, because so Ace knows this, but I don't know if you know it, Sam. When Jar almost left my server, at one point because me and Ace and I think Amos were just hanging out and talking, and Jar just I think I'm gonna leave your server, and I say, what are you talking about? Why? What happened? And he says I don't want to talk to that blue guy. I was like, okay. He was like obviously talking about Ace, and I was like, okay, what the fuck is going on? Like, he was very scared of Ace.
I don't want to talk to that blue guy. See, that's how I feel. I don't want to talk to that blue guy either. I don't think anyone wants to talk to that blue guy.
Dude, I like actually kind of like understood it.
okay,
it was the first time it was ever understood.
I think the biggest dick move I've ever did to him is like when I was streaming, I was trying to get him on stream, and he made it clear that he like ended up like looking at it. I was like streaming our DMs to see if he would come on or not. Like this was like when I was watching the second call. So it's like I just like to imagine he's like, oh, he's live. I wonder what he's talking about. And just sees his DMs and like fall backwards in his chair. Like what the fuck?
Oh, no.
But I was like, no. Stop.
Hey, Space, why would you do this? Dude, I mean, the other thing that I forgot about is that's like the first time Falgi and I kind of became on like better terms and stuff, because I just didn't know him before this, but I organized Falgi to like kind of ambush him in my server. On when he was on live, and I organize is probably too strong a word. What I did was I gave Falgi the blessing to do it, because I don't think it was him directly. Somebody who was kind of a mutual of ours came to me and was like, hey, is it okay if Falgi does this? And this was after the second Cinny Bear video, and so because of that, I was just like, yeah, like he deserves to get criticism for this, and he needs to know that he's in a public server and he's going to make drama videos again. This is something that can happen, right? And so like I allowed that to happen or whatever, and then that was kind of like the foundation for Falgi and I kind of becoming friendlier. So,
dude, like I can't even hate because low key I was always like contemplate like, dude, if Himpleton's ever live and like Jar happens to be there and I could like join, I'm gonna rape him. But like he just he kept going late at fucking night, like when I'm asleep in those calls.
It was always like a sleepy time call situation for Jar, like where he would get on my streams that were at the time, because my streams were very disorganized and I wasn't really taking it seriously at that point because it was pretty early on in me going back to streaming. So I would have some streams that would just be no topic gaming streams. And those are the ones that he would always go on to. He did at one point go on I think it was the first Kinetic Kel stream I did. and he like talked about that some, which was very funny, a weird crossover. But other than that, it was like me playing like Amanda the Adventurer and Jar being like, I've seen The Lion King recently, or like some stupid shit like that. Okay.
Dude, you want to know my favorite that he was on, bro?
Which one?
He felt so out of place. It was like your N-word debate.
That's what I'm talking about with the Kel thing. Yes, he was on the fucking great N-word debate. Yes, yes.
It's so funny to me.
Legendary stream.
I think all I can remember at the top of my head is like, well, little Baggio, see, when you're fighting against racism, you see, this is more like, fighting against a drop with there's a whole bucket, whatever the fuck he said. It's like, so is there really a point in like arguing with Himpleton?
No, the best part. No, he was on my side about that.
I know.
But like the best part of his contribution that I totally forgot about until you just mentioned it is when he said, "Yeah, I play Halo." No, it's because Lil Baggio was like, "I'll bet you play like Call of Duty," and then Jar was like, "I play Halo." and I just like had to hold it back so bad. I was just like, "Holy shit, this is awesome!" And then he was like, and then Baggio was like, "I'll bet you say the N-word on there," and he was like, "I actually don't." So I was like, "Dude, you just got raped by fucking Jar." Okay,
dude, Jar got him, bro.
Actually, I don't say the N-word. It's awesome.
Dude. Fuck,
no, look. The next thing that I would kind of want to bring up and talk about very briefly, right?
Yeah.
Just for the title and thumbnail, is MamaMax, right? I feel like I kind of have to, right?
Yeah.
Because of your history with MamaMax. If you could like summarize it in like 2 minutes, right, to somebody that has no idea about your involvement in that situation, what is your involvement?
I was pretty much the first person to talk about that stuff. And it was completely circumstantial. Like there's nothing special about it, right?
Yeah.
I was not involved in commentary whatsoever at the time. I
100%.
at the time was making I was a variety channel where I would just kind of talk about whatever I wanted to. It was my first big video. Ace, can you let me talk, dude? This is horrible. I genuinely feel like you're like giving me back shots right now. It's like freaking me out. But it was my first big video, so it was very amateurish. The first one I did. But I saw him make a video about his exes and all the allegations that were coming out against him. And I used to be a fan of the guy. But I saw this like black screen thumbnail as if it was like a fucking 13-year-old like posting like I'm sad, don't talk to me or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I saw that and I was like, what is this? I watched the video and I'm somebody who, I'm very public about these kind of things, but I've been in like emotionally abusive relationships in the past that have had people that are very narcissistic in them. And because of that, I saw a lot of red flags in the way that he was conducting himself with kind of trying to debunk a lot of those allegations. And that's when I first was like, I need to A-log this guy. So I spent an entire summer right after I had graduated to college. I spent dozens of hours watching every single thing that this guy made, subscribing to his Patreon. Just I was a thorough A-logger. And that wound up with me reporting him to the FBI. Because of, as you do, of course. And that was because to TLDR it, because I don't want to like fucking take 10 minutes to be like, so this happened, this. But to TLDR, he was essentially using his emotionally immature, mentally ill, psychotic audience to encourage them to commit acts of violence against people, where his pedo investigations were very shoddy and a lot of them were half made up. And so because of that, it's a very dangerous thing to do something like this, because you're potentially framing innocent people or people who haven't had a fair trial whatsoever or anything like that, and telling these mentally ill people, I will reward you if you commit acts of violence against these people. And because of that, I mean, that is definitionally a felony. So, and it's a national felony, like across state lines as well. And so I got in contact with the FBI. I obviously, never recorded any of those because that's a felony too. But
Yeah.
back when I was going to make a video about that stuff, because he ended up calling me a stalker when he came back. I still to this day have the voicemail that the FBI agent left me in response to me calling about it. And so we called, 6 or 7
Oh, yep. Relevant.
times. Yeah. See, I'm cool
Yeah.
with the kids. And
Yeah, you do like kids.
yeah, I love them. I love kids. But so we called a couple times, and I gave him all the information, and it resulted in the FBI coming to his door. He wasn't there at the time, but they essentially gave him a federal admonishment, which basically says, "We know what you did. If you ever do something like this again, we will know, and we will fucking clap the shit out of you."
They said clap.
And they verbatim said that. They wrote it on a note at his door.
The little story makes good as well, I heard.
Right.
We gonna clap
And
you, cuz.
And so, I really wish, like, at that time, I really wished that they had gotten a warrant for his devices, because I don't know what they would have seen if they had gotten that. And I'm not alluding to anything to do with CP or anything like that. I don't think that he ever did anything like that. I maintain that to this day. I actually fought against, and I was completely irrelevant when I was doing this, so nobody cared. But I was very strongly fighting against Mudahar when he made the allegation that Max's Mega was banned because of CP, because that's just not the case at all. And if you actually read into it and have any form, I don't have any form of tech knowledge. I'm a fucking unk. I'm so bad at this stuff. Like, I had to have people teach me how to use OBS, right? But like, even with the limited knowledge that I have, I did my research and looked into his Mega ban, and it is not a whistleblow for CP whatsoever. And it's more than likely that the reason that his Mega got banned is because he had puppy crushing videos on there, and he ostensibly had revenge porn on there because he had videos of pedophiles masturbating. So, much more logical conclusion to that than CP. But the point is, the reason I wanted people to look into his fucking hard drive is because I think that they would have found emails and correspondences that were sent to him of people beating pedophiles. I put that in giant air quotes because there was never any proof, and it would be just random people within an inch of their lives. Because I've had several people who are unrelated to each other and were not speaking to each other give me testimony that was happening, and that Max would show them this. I think, I think that would have been something that was good. I will say, I'm thinking about if I want to make this public. Ace knows what I'm thinking about.
That one, give us the scoop.
Oh, man. Your choice, little bro.
I think I'm gonna do it.
Creams? Okay.
So, I had a conversation with Max a few months ago.
A few months ago.
And he wanted to... So, it was set up by a mutual friend, actually mutual friends too far, but a guy that I'm friendly with, who is Max's first Patreon supporter, and is very close with Max, is credited in every single Max video, who ended up kind of being friendly with me because I was covering the Spencer stuff and shitting on Spencer, and he was in the stream, and I was like, wow, you're actually like a really chill guy. And so we ended up kind of just like talking about very normal stuff like movies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And he, this was months and months ago, and he was like, I could try to set up a conversation between you and Max, because this was around the time that the stalker stuff happened, where Max made a video saying that I was a violent stalker and that when I made a skit video depicting me as like it was a parody of a Content Cop intro where I dressed up
Mhm.
as Indiana Jones and like fought his like henchman and then ended up like killing him or whatever. Like
Yeah.
very clearly a parody, like really stupid. Like it's been I think that even Diorio, who hates me, like compared it to like a Gokunaru kind of skit. Very clearly a joke. And he used that to say that I'm a violent stalker and that he apparently thought that I depicted killing his at the time girlfriend. I had no idea he was dating anyone. So like that was just a shock to me. Okay. So, you know, I talked to Sylphat, who's the guy that I was talking about that's the mutual, and was like, dude, what the fuck is this? He's calling me a violent stalker, and it's funny because he has no influence anymore. So I ended up only getting like 2 comments on my page about it. And that's the funniest part. Like he called me a violent stalker and showed my YouTube channel like 3 times, and I only got 2 comments from it.
No one gave a shit.
Yeah, no one cared. And so, but I still reached out and was like, what the hell is this? Like, and I did give it the caveat. I was like, I don't want him to think that I was threatening the life of either him or his girlfriend. I don't want him to think that. So I would genuinely be willing to go to him and apologize for that. And so I didn't hear from Sylphat for months. And then we reconnected randomly. And when we reconnected, he was like, hey man, I'd be down to try to set up this Max call. And I was like, okay,
Yeah.
I mean, sure. But I didn't expect it to happen. A couple days later, I'm added into a group chat with him and Max. And we end up having a conversation about everything. And it's going to kind of sound sweepy, especially coming from the guy. And like, I maintain every single criticism that I gave, like when I talked about it earlier.
Yeah.
But I talked to the guy and like, you know, one of the first things that was, you know, he talked to me about is like, why did you report me to the FBI? I explained everything and I was very honest about it. And he was like, that makes sense. And like, you know, he, you know, maintained that a lot of it was because of him like playing a character and being very irresponsible about that character, where he was not clear enough to that part of his audience that it was a character. He thought it was obvious because, you know, whatever, and like take that or leave it, obviously. But that was his like explanation for it. And
Mhm.
he also just kind of went through everything that he's had controversy for, because I asked him, he was completely willing to sit there while I just questioned him about everything, which is really the closure that I had been wanting for that situation for a very long time. And he was completely willing to sit through all of that and just honestly answer everything that I asked. And I have to admit that like the way that he conducted himself and the maturity, I never thought I would say something like that, but the maturity that he exhibited in responding to all of my questions, I was very impressed. I was. It does. I genuinely hope for him that he has changed.
Yeah.
And in a sort of outward way, it does kind of sound like he has. I'm saying that with a grain of salt, obviously, given all of the things that he's, you know,
Yeah, like a week
done.
later, he's just gonna
Right.
like slander someone to be a pedophile.
Exactly. And if that happens, then there's no hope. But I like to have hope in people, especially because of the fact that I've been the guy who did the retarded shit and was raped. Obviously not near to the extent that Max did, but like I've been in my own controversies. Right. Right, exactly. Well, you'll never find out about the really bad stuff, okay? Let's be honest. But like, you know, my point is that like I want the best for people, and when I see this guy who genuinely seems like he's trying to turn over a new leaf and do things right, it gives me hope and it makes me happy. So I do genuinely hope that he has changed. Dude, what are you doing in the mic right now?
Yeah, what are you
Hey,
doing?
mate.
You're cooking a good clip.
I know. Like,
Sorry, I was
See, my thing,
like mad itchy. Sorry.
my thing with that would be, right, if he was genuinely this changed guy, right, and this would be my only caveat, right, would be if he is genuinely this changed guy who has kind of reflected on all of his past mistakes, his decisions, all his actions, surely to some degree he would come up publicly, right, and try and not like go, oh, I'm this big fucking loser, look at me, haha, but at least walk through a bit more transparently than he has in the past his actions and take accountability for things that recently in his previous uploads he didn't. You know what I mean?
I would agree with that, and I think that time will tell as far as that goes.
Mhm.
And that's why the entire time I was talking about that, it was very intentional about using words like seems like and stuff
Yeah.
like that, because I'm not willing to say that he has, because I don't know. I had this conversation with the guy, and that's as far as it went, right? But like, it genuinely does seem that way, and I hope that my feeling on that is right, but only time will tell.
No, for sure. I mean, if he has genuinely changed and he has genuinely reflected on his horrific mistakes and his horrific actions in the past, you would hope that he would then come out and publicly not only apologize for his other responses, where he's been incredibly defensive of his previous decisions, but also just be incredibly transparent. Like you said, he was there in that call, that he was that transparent, that he was owning up to his mistakes, he was understanding. You would hope that he would apply that level to his audience, apply that to the general public, instead of being on the high horse and the defensive that he has been over his past couple of uploads or the last uploads he released.
I think if he did that, like, I think if he did that, he would be okay. Like, I think that
to play
there's
some devil's advocate, you know, Himpy, to play some devil's advocate, you did say that this guy saw he's like a stalker, right? Is it entirely possible, do you think, that he was only just telling you what you wanted to hear so you'd fuck off?
I'm going to say no to that solely because of some of the stuff that he told me that I'm not going to repeat.
Yeah, because I don't know, because like if I had someone stalking me,
what I mean by that is he gave me very intimate, private details about certain situations and things that, out of respect for other people who are not involved, I'm not going to repeat.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I get that. I mean, I wasn't there, so obviously I have to go off of like your judgment of it, but I don't know. He is definitely very slimy, so it's like I take that with like a grain of salt for sure.
100%. But that's what I mean. Like, that's why I even have that feeling at all. Like, and that's why, like, I'm resting on it being a feeling and not asserting, like, guys, this guy's changed, he's better now, like any of that stuff.
Dude, who would ever do that?
It's just like, this is a feeling. And part of the reason that I feel that way is because of the accountability and transparency that he had with me, and B, the sheer amount of willingness he had to back up information he was telling me with facts and showing me proof of certain things that, again, I hate to be a content cuck, but like, it involves things that are not Max or I, and so I'm not going to get into it.
Is it kind of like, just to get an idea of it, is it like, you know, personal life stuff or whatever? Like,
some of it was that, and some of it was related to aspects of his coverage.
Yeah,
I will tell you. I'll tell you when we're not recording.
I mean, realistically, right? Like, if he wanted to hand wave Himpleton away, he would just like embrace transparency in the sense of like his public actions, right? Not divulge personal detail.
Like,
because he has reckless, right?
He obviously has no like obligation to release any private details about himself publicly. But it's like, that him doing that to me in private, to me, showed that it wasn't just I'm trying to get this like stalker guy who I think like will leak anything that I say to shut up. You know, I don't think that he would have done that kind of risk if it was something of I'm not, you know, that kind of thing.
Assuming it
sure.
was real.
Yeah. Fuck off.
Some of this stuff I can assure you it is real because I saw
I saw it.
again, I can't get into it, but I saw proof that it was.
I was
Yeah.
there too.
I mean, only time will tell. If he was
100%.
being like that transparent. I mean, I would love to see a video come out from him where he's that transparent, that open. I think a lot of people would respect it. I mean, it doesn't get away from the fact that he's defended himself, that he's like fucked himself, all his
Yeah.
actions. But I do think that you know, it kind of puts a little bit of an end to that situation. I think a lot of
Exactly.
people would respect him just being transparent, which is
I
something
think
he should have
could
done from the beginning.
on.
Right.
Yeah,
It's
no,
true.
yeah.
He absolutely should have. But I do think that there's like, and I told him this in the call. I said I verbatim told him, I was like, listen, man, if you take the actions necessary to take accountability for what you did, be transparent about it, and if you wanted to make another video where you are just yourself and not playing a character and did content like not like similar to what you were doing, but did content like even just adjacent to what you were doing, even if it's just an investigative video, I think that there's a situation in which you could genuinely like come back if you do all of that stuff. Like that it's absolutely contingent on the fact that you actually take accountability, actually are transparent, etc. But I do think that there's a situation in which you could come back and you could actually do this in a way that you're not going to have as much of an audience ever again, probably, but you could, people would respect you for it, as you're saying.
Yeah, because
No, yeah,
I don't want
definitely.
to like I don't want to poke and prod, but there's definitely just a couple things like because I don't want to like be on this forever either. But like, how long ago was like roughly? You don't have to give me an exact date. Like, how long ago was this call that you had with him?
I remember reaching out to you when it happened.
No, yeah, for sure. I just
I
don't
would
remember
probably have to
exactly
refer
what.
to. I know I'd probably have to refer to our DMs. I'm pretty sure. Was it before or after the IA stuff started? Like, and when I say the IA stuff started, I mean like the first time I called IA, because I think it was. I think it was either.
It was probably
before,
around that, if not before.
I think it was right before.
Yeah. So
and so that would have made it around October.
the reason why I asked for like a timeline sake is because like I guess did he ever give you like a reason like because okay you would think if a month has passed right and he was able to like fully willingly like explain all this information to you right, not saying he's lying right, but like if a month has passed, is there any reason why he's not said it publicly? I mean, wouldn't it be easier to say it publicly rather than to each and every Spurg individually that comes to him about it?
I think that like from what he told me, I'm thinking about if I want to get into this. I mean, if you know anything about Max, you know that he takes a very long time with videos. Okay?
Yeah, but it's a response.
No, I understand. I understand. But him like making those videos about like the Camden stuff was very rare for him because he was releasing videos pretty frequently, and when I say frequently, it was like once a month. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was one of those things where he's still working on it, but I don't know. I think that's a good question. I don't know.
Yeah, because I don't know, because like obviously if you're convinced, right, that's one thing. I don't know. I just find it very odd that like, someone that he considered his stalker and, to be fair, there was some A-logging, which is whatever, right? We all do it to some people, it's whatever.
Oh yeah.
I just find it weird that, if he was going to respond to anybody, it would be the person that he was saying was a stalker over and over again to him, rather than, just make a public announcement.
You do have to remember that a big part of the reason why it happened in the first place is because one of his closest online friends, who he very much intimately trusts, reached out to him and vouched for me. That's a huge reason as to why it happened, and it would have never happened if it weren't for that.
See, I
yeah.
also can imagine that he was probably also testing the waters a little bit to see what one of his biggest detractors, or in his eyes, biggest detractors, to the point where he thought you were a stalker, right, would
Yeah.
think of his response with his transparency and with how he was taking accountability for his actions. But I wouldn't be surprised if he was testing the waters to see if that's something that he would then be able to extrapolate onto his audience to then
And be
post a video.
receptive
If that's
to.
something that he does want
Yeah.
to do. Yeah, exactly.
100%.
Like, I wouldn't put it past him. I mean, I've got my fingers crossed because it'd be some great content. But you know, at this point, he's got nothing to really lose, right? He's literally like rock bottom. By posting that video, unless he like again tries to defend some of his actions, you know, things aren't going to get really worse for him. So he might as well just come out and make a video where he's taking accountability, where he's been transparent, where he's saying the things that he said to you. You know,
Yeah.
like, you know, he doesn't lose anything. But, bro, TrashTalk got the scoop there, man.
Yeah, you did. You did. That was a big one that I've just kind of been like, Ace knows that I have been holding that back for a long time.
Yeah.
Says, now he can relax now because it was a huge.
Yeah, no, it feels it feels good to kind of like be public about that, because it's like it's not that I was like hiding it. It was just one of those things where it's like, when the fuck am I gonna say that on a stream? You know what I mean? Especially because I'm not saying it from the aspect of like, guys, I have the big scoop and I'm like releasing like a fucking video about this, and like I'm like gay upping this guy, blah blah blah.
Dude.
Like it was genuinely just like a conversation, and
That
I
would
came
be
into
so
it
funny.
thinking, I mean, Ace can vouch for this too. I came into it thinking it was gonna be really bad, and I came out of it like not doing a complete 180, because again, as I said, like all of my response to it has been just hopes more so than like a full belief. But I came out of it being like, I was very surprised by the way that went.
No, for
Yeah,
sure.
he was literally like being like, okay, the call's supposed to be happening today. Wish me luck.
Yeah, I was very nervous, dude. Like, because that had been building for. I think that my first Max video came out in 2022, so it'd been building for 3 years, and you know, like, regardless of how things shake out after this, I feel, and this is so gay, but it's like, I feel closure from that call. And it was nice
Yeah.
to kind of shut the door on that for me. Like,
Yeah,
because I
definitely.
don't have any unanswered questions about it now. At least the stuff that happened in the past.
I mean,
No, yeah, for
that's
sure.
good at least.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and then you'd hope that Max would, you know, come out and eventually, whenever it may be, publicly like admit some of the things that he did to you.
Yeah.
You know, be transparent. Finally, kind of like put an end to it instead of, you know, being this defensive, deflective guy. Who I mean, publicly at least, kind of hasn't really particularly backed down on the large majority of the things that he's been called out for.
Right. Yeah, and I
So,
genuinely do hope
you know,
that happens. But
yeah. I mean,
as we've said, time will tell. Time will tell. You know.
yeah, it'd be like the next, you know, good few months or so.
Yeah.
So you know, fingers crossed, be a great content month. And kind of speaking on a great content month, just come off the back of In Adjacent and Parlo. But firstly, like I would be an idiot if I didn't talk about it. Parlo, of course, gave you his Pyrocynical video.
Yep. That's how this all started.
Yeah, how did that come about? Because anytime I ask him about it, and I asked him publicly in Ace's server, he was just like, "Oh no, just send it to him. I thought it'd be a good idea. I don't know why." How did that come about?
So the reason it came about is because I streamed about the dupe situation, and was allowing people who had been very frustrated with Parlo to have their voices heard about unrelated stuff.
Yeah.
And then Parlo came into the stream, and I facilitated a conversation between conversation's a little generous towards me, but like I facilitated blood sports between Parlo and his detractors. And I think that I think, don't quote me on this, but this was, I'm pretty sure he said something along the lines of this, that, I'm a harsh but fair critic, where I'm not gonna call him a pedophile over the dupe stuff, which was ridiculous for people to be calling him that. And at the same time, I would allow for criticism, and I would, be, I mean, I literally said I was going to rape him at some point in that call. Okay, like I would be like
As fair as they
hyperbolic. I
come.
would be exactly right. I would be hyperbolic. I would be, an asshole, but at the same time, I would be fair about it, and I would give him legitimate criticism. And I think that the pyro stuff kind of came up because I was, just making the point to. I think this was around the time where he was hinting at it, and you posted that clip of Pyro talking about it, and I was hired by Amos to write his Pyrocynical video. And so because of that, I was pretty knowledgeable about the situation. But then at the same time, because I think that Pyro is like a freak, I would never go as far as to say he's a fucking groomer or like a pedophile, but he's definitely a freak, and he did kind of get away with it in terms of his conduct around minors. And so I would have liked to have seen that be a good video, and I wanted to, I made it very clear I would be fair about it. And so I think from there, I like, to this day, I still don't quite understand why the fuck he agreed to it, especially with such a small channel. But I'm fucking glad he did. It was awesome. And and it's so funny because like fucking it caused the most recent like Nick clip talking about me. And I only know about it because people just kept on sending it to me being like, Himpleton, you're being slandered. You're being slandered. Because Nick made the claim that I stole the video from Parlo and reacted to it without his consent on a live.
Is he retarded?
Yes, he is. He is so brain raped by the Ethan Hassan Destiny stuff that like it is all he can think about, dude. Like and when it comes to getting like facts around anything else, he's like, I guess he's just relying on like orbiters or something and just repeating what they say as if it's a fact. Because if you do 10 seconds of research, like I start the video, that live stream literally saying, okay guys, like Parlo sent me the video, like we're gonna react to it, and then we're gonna have Parlo here to talk about it. Like
Parlo's publicly like spoken about it and admitted to it, so it's not like a big secret. Like, it's not like something that
nothing,
like
there's nothing private about it. It's so easy to figure out.
Like it's fucking ridiculous. And of course, I would never get the rationale behind him sending you the video, but again, I don't get the rationale behind him hyping it up for 6 months. I don't get the rationale, but with him and Cormanx when it came to it, I don't get the rationale about him including like fucking Reddit and like Pyrocynical fans in his 300-page document. Like all of it is just completely off. Him releasing like that video then on his Parlo gaming channel instead of his main channel when he ultimately then just released a cut down version of it anyway. It's ridiculous, right? Fucking stupid. Which ultimately tanked the situation, right? Like Parlo's involvement actively fucked their situation from becoming anything more than a shit stain. Pyro's never going to do anything in response. Nothing's going to happen. What was the latest thing that happened? Cormanx did a follow up. Like that's the last thing that Cormanx, like to do with Pyro, was that Cormanx did the third part of what Parlo was obviously meant to release.
Right,
and it was shit.
Yeah, I mean it was. It was very. I know. Thank you. It was very. It was an eager attempt. It was very amateurish. And I even told him that much. Like, it was the interesting thing about it to me was that he and 20 minutes, like, actually, him in the first minute was able to succinctly and understandably summarize what Parlo couldn't in 2 hours. That was the
Which is
funny part
sensible.
about it to me.
Which is it's fucking Cormax as well, right? The guy
Right.
that literally he can't speak. The guy literally can't fucking form a sentence. He can't string a fucking sentence together. But I do find it really funny with that. In the comments and the community tab just completely falls apart. Like as soon as he gets pushed, just completely melts.
Wait, in the community tab of the Pyro video?
Yeah, in the community tab on his channel when he's promoting and talking about it, and then in the comments on that video, he's just completely melting. As soon as anyone pushed.
I didn't know about that. Oh no.
It's so funny.
Oh,
It's so funny, dude.
Poor guy.
Yeah, I mean, again, he was never the confrontational side, was he? I mean, he got fucked in your live stream.
You know what? Do you
yeah.
know what's insane that I will leak right now is that
Get on.
Amos is potentially hiring him to edit.
Why?
I don't know.
Dude.
I don't know. I was like, Amos, because he was like, yeah, I'm thinking about like getting into like slop, like, and then like Cormix was like talking about like how this was last night, and he was like, I'm like, you know, I'm a really fast editor, like blah blah blah, and because originally he was wanting to like either edit or do script writing for Amos and I's Gwamgo video or collab video that I'll talk about a little later, and I was immediately like, no, you're not touching that. I'm sorry. Like, no offense, but like, I'm very possessive of my script writing, and Amos is very possessive of his editing. But then Amos was like, well, like, I'm thinking about getting into like the slop sphere, and like, you know, maybe we could do like a test run, and like, I could send you some stuff to potentially edit. And I was like,
dude,
okay.
What did someone accused him of slave labor? So I don't. Right.
Oh wait, Himpleton. This is very relevant, by the way. Can you see the side chat in this call?
Let me see.
I want you to tell me your thoughts about this tweet.
For audio listeners,
he knows nothing. He knows nothing.
Yeah, it's Nicholas Dorian knowing nothing about the situation.
and he thinks he's like so, dude. The downfall of Diorio needs to be studied, dude. Speaking of lyrics and like the whole deal of like cucking to your audience, he absolutely sold out to Ethan Hassan Destiny stuff, and like I used to really, really respect his coverage, even when it. So for the record, Diorio's never liked me from our first interaction before I was even in commentary. It was the first time I ever tried calling into a stream because I'm an OG like Augie RFC fan, and so I was trying to call into Augie's stream because he was doing call-ins, and I know for a fact Diorio will never remember this. Obviously, I'm not like saying this as like, and ever since then he's held a grudge again. No, he had no idea who I was. I guarantee he doesn't remember it at all. But it's just like kind of an encapsulation for the way that he's thought of me. I tried to call in. Nick goes in to vet the callers, and I'm the only one in there. And he says, "What are you wanting to talk about?" And I can't even remember what the situation was, but I'm like, "Well, really?" And then he fucking disconnects me. and then Augie's like, "Who was that in call-ins?" And he was just like, "Some fucking schizo." And I'm just like, "Why? Why are you doing this?" But then after that, he ended up doing. He has the biggest coverage of like the Joker crash out call with ZV. He's got like a VOD with like 45K views that I still to this day haven't watched, but you know I've heard that it's pretty obviously uninformed and just essentially.
He thought I was British.
That's amazing, and it's essentially just him laughing at it. Even after that happened, I didn't necessarily like the guy, but I still really had a lot of respect for his coverage, especially just because of different situations he's been involved in where I've always thought of his takes as very sensible and well-researched. And this past, like, few months, it's just degraded so badly. And if it's not about EHD, it's complete slop. And I mean, the EHD stuff's is just slop at this point too. So he's just like completely cucked to that audience at this point, where he like slobs on Ethan's knob, and it's just like it's so disappointing.
Well, look, I mean, he's literally covering iDubbbz as we speak.
Of course.
What is it to cover? Like, I'm not. I don't want to be funny, right? I'm somebody who extensively covered iDubbbz, right? From content. I genuinely, I want to say I made like 30 odd videos covering content, iDubbbz, whatever. But genuinely, what is there left to cover? I stopped covering the guy like maybe 3 months ago now. I think the most recent thing I covered was the fact that him and H3 started arguing over plates because it was so ridiculous. There was genuinely nothing left to talk about with it. But Nicholas Dury was so mind raped when it comes to Hassan, when it comes to Destiny, when it comes to iDubbbz and Anissa. I genuinely just don't think he can move on to any other topic really at this point. I mean, that's literally his main bread and butter. Which is unfortunate. It's really unfortunate. It's just boring. Like if anything else, even if you like Dioro, like the plainest critique you can give him with all this is it's so fucking stale and boring. Like who gives a fuck about fucking what like the 80th Hassan drama of the year? So stupid. So boring.
Exactly.
But you know something that wasn't boring, right? What was in adjacent with his little Cinderella, right?
Oh,
that was fun. That was exciting. Of course, but if most people watching this, well, 100% know the story, right? But when did you get involved?
So I actually remember the exact night that I got involved, and it's only because I went to Buffalo the next day and did an IRL meetup with some other YouTubers. I guess YouTuber, other than Take 9, YouTubers is a little bit of a generous take there, but like, you know, I met up with some, online people or whatever. So it was on October 16th, 2 months ago to this day, that I first talked to IA in that capacity. The only time that we had ever talked before that was on that first Parlo stream where he called in and was like, I'm friends with Parlo. And everybody was kind of like, okay. Anything else? And he was just like, no. That was the only time I had ever talked to this guy beforehand. And he comes to me and he says, actually, let me literally say exactly what he said. Because it's so raped the way that he prefaced it to me. Hold on. Wolfgang was taken. He said, big gulps.
That's a price.
Sorry, I'm nervous. What did he say? Shatters teeth a little bit.
Yeah, I need to hear you chattering, okay? I need a drum roll. Okay, alright, I don't like it anymore.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, I'm almost there. Okay.
Yeah, me too.
Yo, Himpleton, I got drama for you. That's how he prefaces this to me.
That's how he said it to me too.
I say, what's up? And then he says, it's in regards to Parlo. I can explain on call if you want. You just have to give me a second. I'm at work. And then it goes on from there. And we called that night, and my biggest regret in this entire drama was that I did not record that call. In that call, he comes to me and he says everything we already know about the meetup, but he prefaces it to me in a way where it's like I'm being falsely accused of rape, and Parlo has made people stop talking to me. Like some of my best friends online are now no longer talking to me, and he's like burning my reputation privately. And then says like I want to burn this guy to the ground. And I use that quote all the time because I distinctly remember it. I want to burn this guy to the ground. And was strong. It's so funny because it would later the dynamic would completely shift later. But when he came to me in that first call, he wanted to release it ASAP, to the extent that I brought my streaming setup with me to the meetup I did, because I was prepared for it to go live that week. That's how gung-ho he was about it.
No, for sure.
And I was the one backing him off the cliff, being like, I don't know if you want to do this. Like, you need to be very careful about this and make sure that you have every single receipt before you go live about this, before you bring this to anybody. And he was like, I want to, like, give this to Aiden. I want to give this to, like, everyone, like, blah, 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 blah. And from the beginning, it already felt to me that something was off. I didn't feel great about it. It felt like something was off and that there was, I don't know. I don't know if at that time I felt so strongly as to say he was lying to me, but it did feel very off. It didn't feel like he was being fully transparent with me. It didn't feel like he was giving me every receipt he had, and that felt very strange. Then I end up finding out that he talked to both of you guys.
Well, yeah.
And
well, because he called me on the day it happened, like literally as soon as I left, and I mean, his first thing was like, "Oh, guys, I think you were right about Parlo." I was like, "All right, I'll hop in a call." Yeah, I was going to do anal with him. Okay, great. And then his whole thing was like, "Okay, right, I'm going to have a call with him. I'm going to get you in there. You can record it if you want. You can leak it if you want. You can do all this stuff. Oh, we can get other commentators in there." I joked about getting Ace in there. That he goes and tells Ace. So I mean, I think his intention was very clear that he wanted to get ahead of the curve. I told him that there is no way in any world that Parlo would want to come out about this because he would get just absolutely touched for it. And he literally said to me that, like, Parlo had no intention of coming out about it, but he still told me. Still spread it around, which was his first big mistake, was fucking telling a bunch of commentators about it.
Right. Well, and you know what's so funny about you saying that is, so this is just proof that him and Parlo and Avalon are like matches made in heaven, because while he was on that call with you, either that night or the next day, Parlo and Avalon called Ada from a coffee shop. And Ada, for anybody who doesn't know, because this is kind of obscure lore here, Ada was one of the people who was with Wolfgang at Anthrocon when all of that stuff happened. And on top of that, and on a side tangent, the only reason I found this out is because she, I think, was involved in the Vexium Swift stuff. And so they called into my stream while I was covering Vexium, and ends up actually revealing like crazy stuff about the Parlo IA stuff. While that call was happening with you, with Internet Adjacent, where it started out with, you were right about Parlo, Parlo and Avalon call Ada and say, you were right about Wolfgang. That's what they started the call with. That's why it's so funny, the parallel. It's crazy. It really is crazy. But I'm sure, elephant in the room here, the thing that you want to talk about is the what led up to that becoming public, right?
No, no one cares about that, bro.
Oh, yeah, shut up, Ace. Shut up. Right. Look. Now, you got a lot of blame for it, right?
Oh, absolutely.
I did send a couple of screenshots to you in that chat that we were in. Again, I think we'd agreed at least, me and Ace, that it was definitely better for it to come out on its own, right? I had no intention to.
We all at first, of us agreed.
Yeah,
sure. I was fully on that train too.
Yeah.
But I got very impatient. Okay.
Yeah. It did take a while.
You were unironically like the rabbit with the clock emoji.
I was, dude. I was getting so, because here's the thing, right? You two were kind of like the almost like ambassadors to the Parlo side of things. Because Parlo, and we've talked about this, Parlo did not speak to me about. I tried reaching out to him multiple times. Parlo never spoke to me about this until the day it was coming out.
Yep, because I'd known the guy for 2 years, and Sam's known him roughly around the same time. Right. So, like, Parlo's obviously going to have a bit more trust.
Right. I'm not let me be clear. I'm not blaming him for not talking to me. I'm
I'll
just saying,
explain
like,
to the audience.
you two were ambassadors to Parlo. I don't know why it became this way, but I was kind of the go-to ambassador to IA.
Dude,
And
I can't lie, Himpleton, because okay, I'm gonna sweep a little bit here, right? So when it came to like Sam and I being in those calls with like Avalon and Parlo, dude, Sam was just being such a fucking dick to Parlo.
of course he was.
It was so funny. It was so
Sam is
funny.
very
So,
consistent.
no, you
Okay?
see, Sam.
Yeah.
See that's why I love my boy Sam over here, right? You see, I'm like listening, like so, like, what did he do to you? It's like, yeah, he just like kind of coerced me to something. He's like, oh, bro, got right, Tom. It's so funny.
Like,
Dude, I like.
He wouldn't stop telling me things, but like I was actively mocking him and making fun of him, and he just wouldn't stop.
I gotta
That's
say,
right.
one of my favorite things was he was trying to talk about the Airbnb, and then Sam just decided to deck him over the Pyrocynical stuff.
Well, and the way it went,
It was beautiful.
like, all of us agreed that it was better for it to come out on its own, but we
Oh,
also
for sure.
all agreed that we really wanted it to come out.
Oh no, for sure.
Right?
Yeah, there was no one that didn't want this to come out.
Mhm.
Exactly. So it's like we were, at least on my side of things, I was teetering this line where it was like, I want IA, because at this point it was well established between all three of us, because he was. So the reason that we established this, for those who, haven't heard this part, because I've talked about it on stream a little bit, he was telling all three of us completely different things, as if we wouldn't talk to each other about it.
It was
which
actually
is
impressive.
So raped, because it's like so public that all of us, are talk to each other, right? So it's like, why do you think this wouldn't come back? But like, he was telling all of us different things. He was in my public server lying about the Anthrocon stuff, and like just being very dishonest about the Parlo stuff, but weirdly hinting at it and like alluding to it. And so I got more and more and more and more bothered. And both of these guys can vouch for it, because I was in this group chat that was me, Ace, Sam, and for some goddamn reason Callie was there. Okay. And I would go into this group chat after we would call, or he would be in a server call with me or something like that, and they can vouch, I would be like, I hate this fucking guy. I need this out.
Yeah.
I need this out. I need this out. This guy is
It's
insufferable.
beautiful.
I am so tired of being polite to him. I want this out now. And they would be like, just wait a bit, just wait a bit. And I'd be like, okay, you're right. Let's wait a bit. But it got to this point eventually where Sam sent this screenshot from Avalon. And I saw this screenshot, and I did genuinely misinterpret it. Like, the group chat backs me up on this. I did genuinely misinterpret it in the fact that when they were talking about like this deal, I thought that Avalon was talking about the deal between Parlo and IA that they had made together.
Yeah,
And-
because to be fair with you, right? To be fair, Parlo never brought up like Arctica at all. Like that person, like
Yep.
I didn't even know that person existed. Like I know IA mentioned having like maybe a second channel manager, but Arctica didn't really come up by name at all during this time period.
We had no idea that was a part of this until kind of like a week or two ago, really. But so I saw this and I thought that it was talking about the fact that this deal was off. Because right before that message was sent, like maybe a day or two before, IA and Parlo had a call together where both of them had agreed to not make it public. So I see this screenshot and I literally say to the guys, I'm like, this is the perfect opportunity. This is perfect. and like they were like, I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna get my hands dirty with this, but you have the blessing to do it yourself if you want to fucking take the fall for it when it inevitably happens. And I was like, honestly, man, I have gotten so fed up with this that I'm going to say fuck it and do it. So I send those screenshots to IA and I say, seems like Avalon says that this deal is actually off. And then IA says, and this is the part where I did manipulate. I'll admit to that wholeheartedly. IA responds to that with like immediate like doom pilling. Was like, this means that they're gonna go live about it. And I was like, maybe it does, brother.
let's beat them to it.
Where realistically, no, I didn't say let's do that. I didn't like I didn't go as far as that, but I did not stop him from having that opinion where my interpretation of it, even though I did misinterpret it and think that it was about the like, you know, the agreement between Parlo and IA, what I thought it was in reality was that Parlo wasn't guaranteeing that he was always going to stay silent about this.
Right.
And which does not mean he is going to immediately go live about this, but IA said that, and I didn't stop him from having that interpretation because I was like, it's all coming together now. It's finally happening. And so I was just like, maybe so. Maybe. I don't know, brother. And he's like, I've got to do this. Like, I'm going to fucking finish it. And then I'm going back into this group chat. I'm like, it's happening! It's happening! And I'm fucking pumped. Like, because, you know, at this point, it was almost a month in the making.
Oh, yeah.
And so yeah, he sent me the doc. And from there, I was like, make sure Parlo knows this is happening. And so, you know, then Parlo reaches out to me. I have a brief call with him before it all goes live. And it all comes out, and then IA responds to it in the most Weasley way possible, and runs from me, goes on to Dickers because he thinks that Dickers is going to be more fair, which is so funny because it's like Dickers has raped him like 7 times at this point, but like, and then he goes on there and like has that whole thing where he's like, I can't believe you've done this. I can't believe you've done this. Like, and like the whole bullshit where he's like, oh, Himpleton, I trusted you like a brother. Like, what the fuck? Like, and then I was just like, no, I fucking raped you. Fuck you. Go fuck
All
yourself.
he had to do, and I will never go over it, all he had to do, bearing when he's got open communication with the guys, just message Parlo and ask him if that this was happening.
Right.
And it would have been it.
And that's exactly what I continuously said. Like, it was like, he could have reached out to Parlo. And it's funny because in those leaked calls that he had with Avalon, he used that talking point of mine to try to reverse it onto Avalon and Parlo and say, well, you guys could have just reached out to me. And it's like, they have no incentive to because you say you're going to go live with it. Like, it was like known that you were going to come out about this at this point. So it's like, why would they reach out to you? Like, it was completely on him in the fact that, like, he, at any given time, he could have gone out about it and he could have talked about it. Like, did I pull some strings? Absolutely. But, like, it's you know, and I was willing to take the fall for it, especially when I was pressed into a corner on that stream because Dickers was kind of on his side and, you know, very much interpreted my sending of those screenshots as if I knew that it wasn't actually about Parlo and IA, and I was faced with a dire choice at that time, and I think that it was an exercise in me showing myself that I had changed from my previous controversies last year, because old Himpleton would have been like, well, this is not true, and so I want to continue to defend myself and just, like, you know, make sure that everyone understands that, like, this isn't true and that, like, you know,
I'm the
sure,
good guy.
I have some blame for this, but, like, ultimately I'm the good guy, haha. Or I could steal man and just say, you're welcome. And then that became the tagline because that's exactly what I goddamn did. I said, fuck you. You're welcome for the content. I have no regrets, bitch. And that was just it. Like, I mean, I you know, like, and later I was completely vindicated, so I didn't even have to take, you know, try to defend myself at that point because I got vindicated later. IA admitted to the fact that he was being dishonest about that. And, you know, everybody sort of came around to the fact that this guy's a giant liar. And, you know, I just rested on the fact that I knew that that would become the interpretation eventually. And I mean, that's exactly how it went. Like, I mean, more and more and more and more came out, making him look raped and fucking retarded. And the same went for Parlo and Avalon too. Like, Parlo, you know, he still has to contend and tangle with this Defender stuff. Like, that is so much worse than any of this IA stuff, right? And
Maybe I would like disagree. Maybe in severity of like allegations, sure. I would only say
That's
like
what I
IA is
mean.
like, yeah, because like IA, let's be honest, was kind of a nobody when this stuff was coming out. Like the most he was known in the community was like through Tactical Templar. That's like
Right.
when he was like starting to get his rise. But like without that, it's like this guy was genuinely a nobody, and now he'll be forever known as the furry rapist.
but that's what I mean. Like, I in terms of severity, but like
Yes.
Yeah.
without the IA Parlo stuff, the greater community would never have known about this Defender stuff.
Yeah,
Like,
no.
it was apparently known in the Roblox community, but like none of us knew about this stuff, and none of us knew the severity of it.
God knows I
Like,
didn't, bro. Like that's
when-
fucking crazy.
When I heard about it, it was on that first Parlo stream, and people were bringing it up, but those people were admittedly giant spurgs who couldn't really be trusted with information. So I was like, this seems like it's just like a bunch of hearsay bullshit. And then while the IA Parlo stuff was going on, I did a 10-hour stream looking into it myself and realized this is horrible. This is way worse than I could have ever pictured it being. And I mean, that goes into the Gwamgo stuff too.
No, for sure. I mean, the only thing I ever knew about Parlo and Defender was when Parlo was working very hard on the Mr. Beast stuff and like offloaded it to Amos. One of the people that he got in there was Defender alongside Dogpack. So when I got added to the GC to like, what I think Amos wanted me to like look over some stuff. I didn't end up doing it. But when I got added to the GC with Dogpack and everything, Defender was kind of just chilling in there, and then he like later left. And that was the only involvement I ever knew. And I asked Parlo and people at the time like why he was even there, because it didn't make any sense for him to be involved in the Mr. B situation to begin with.
Well, and I remember like Amos telling me that like Parlo very much whitewashed Defender to Amos, and this was after Parlo had made it. Right, exactly.
Whitewashed is crazy.
This was after, well, you know what I mean. But this was after Parlo had made a video about how Defender got people to cut themselves and was involved in swattings and was involved in doxings and like was this terrible, terrible guy. After all of that, and what did he say to Amos about this Defender guy? Well, yeah, he's kind of a doxer, like he's doxing people, but like he's very good at intel, so he would be a good person to involve in this situation.
Wow.
That's all he says about him, knowing all of this other stuff. Like, this guy was actively sweeping for this guy. Like, and he can claim that it was out of fear all he wants, but that doesn't change the fact that he was voluntarily involving him in different situations.
Well, yeah, no one made him involved in the Mr. B stuff and get him in a group chat with Dogpack. Like,
and a lot of this other stuff too, like where he went to Defender about the Potamer stuff, which ended up with Potamer being, which you can feel however you want about Potamer with the age gap of 12 and 16, but like it ended with Potamer being swatted with the intention to kill him. And that is recorded. Right? And like, you know, obviously Parlo wasn't in that call, but he was in the call when Potamer was getting doxxed and laughing about it. And on top of that, like, Parlo made jokes about different other situations that Defender has been involved in, such as blackmailing a 16-year-old with their own CP, ostensibly grooming a severely autistic child into, you know, doing like terrible doxing and swatting stuff, like stuff like that. Parlo would make jokes about it. Parlo made a joke about the swatting incident. So it's like, to say that he didn't know these things is bullshit. And I don't buy it. I don't buy it at all. And I've told Parlo that. I told him that privately. I genuinely told him, that I'm not going to, like, when his response video about the IA stuff comes out, I will have him on my stream, but I'm not going to be charitable and what he would call fair the way that I have been. And I told him that. I was very transparent about that. Like, I was like, until I see solid proof of this Defender stuff, which he told me multiple times, by the way, he has told me multiple times, I'm sending you these unedited recordings of calls with Defender. I'm going to I'm going to be very transparent with you. Haven't heard from him in weeks. And I've reached out to him multiple times about this Defender stuff and said, you can, I'm waiting. Nothing. Crickets. Right. And part of that is because of the, or at least I believe that it's because of the Avalon coverage I did. But even still, it's like, this is such just raped behavior, man. Like, I mean, the way that I think of Parlo now, as it stands, I'm open to being changed about this if he shows me some solid proof. But the way that I think about it now is Parlo comes around when he knows that he can use me. That's the way I think about it. He comes to me when he knows that he can use me, and then he's going to play this whole thing where he has an explanation for everything, and he's going to play the victim, and he's going to act like he's going to be super transparent and have an open line of communication with me. And then as soon as I'm no longer useful to him, it's crickets again.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, when it comes to Parlo's an incredibly what's the nice way to put it? No, I wouldn't say he's a slimy guy, but he's a very manipulative guy who will happily use the people around him to get what he wants.
I actually have a good example of that at the top of my head for sure. In fact, the thing that you just mentioned, the Mr. Beast thread that Amos made, the literal reason why he had Amos do that is because Parlo knew that if he did it, no one would ever take it seriously. And he pointed out that Amos had some form of credibility at this time, and people would be more willing to take him seriously, which is why he had him do it. So yeah, no, he does kind of have the mentality of using people as chess pieces, if you will. It kind of sounds a bit scuffed, but it is just the reality of how he works.
It's true. Yeah.
No, yeah, and just to slowly start to wrap everything up. Of course, IA when after a lot of stuff, ended up going on your stream. Where he conceded to being what is a compulsive liar, right?
Yeah.
I lied to your face, admitted it straight away, basically when he got pushed on it. And how did that even come about?
So, as raped as this is, the only way I was able to talk to him again is through ZV. ZV at that point had become his handler for whatever reason. They had a mutual friend through Jerry.
Jerry.
And so it was brought to me almost as if this the only way that I can talk to IA is with both of them present, Jerry and ZV. So I had a private call that I recorded, obviously, with them, where essentially he was like, I want to do one more stream and be done with this. And I was like, I'm willing to do that. I'm going to be very harsh, but I'm going to be fair to you. And the last stream that you were on with, I think it was Dickers and Beckett, was supposed to be your tell-all, your honesty hour, and you couldn't do that. So let's fix that, and let's have this be the genuine tell-all, no matter how bad it looks for you, because that is the only way you're ever going to move on from this.
Yeah.
And he agreed to it, and he admitted to being a suicide baiter. He admitted to being a pathological liar. He admitted to not actually having consent when masturbating on call with Avalon and Parlo. He admitted to not getting verbal consent when he fingered Parlo's asshole. He admitted to quite a lot on that stream. And
W rape.
It genuinely got to the point where, and I've been public about this one, so this one's unfortunately not exclusive for you, buddy, but not a ton of people know about it. So I guess it's a little bit of one. It got to the point where like genuinely he was so raped that I did check on him afterwards behind the scenes, and it was like, please make sure you're actually eating therapy. Like you need serious help. You need serious help. And like I you're such a young guy that like it is just like a shame to see you ostensibly like ruining your online presence, which at this time is your entire life, because it's very clear that you are obsessed with the online stuff and that's all you have. So like just fucking fix your life up, man.
Yeah, because like I'm not gonna lie, I've never seen someone pretend to be their own fan, dude.
Right. It was
so
bad. It was so bad. And so like, I just like I wanted to make sure that the guy wasn't gonna fucking off himself. And so I did that. And like the one thing that I will give him is I can confirm that because he was willing to send extensive proof of this. I can confirm that the guy's getting some therapy, which is good. It's good for him.
Fuck me.
So
see, I do like to think that like he's got to tell his therapist that a guy called Himpleton walked him around the bushes and did him. Like, what would you even do as a therapist? Like he's talking about like a Cinderella, a Parlo, a Himpleton. Like what do any of these terms mean? Poor guy.
Well, but the importance of a therapist is more not even to like process the events of the past month, more so to just like figure out and expand upon his issues of being like a suicide baiter and a pathological liar, because like that's what's going to continue to fuck up his entire life if he does not get that fixed early on.
No, sure. Well, I mean, it's something that easily cucked him in this situation. If he wasn't a compulsive liar, he wouldn't be in the position that he's in.
It would have lasted nearly as long.
Yeah. If he was transparent and honest, he would have still got a lot of backlash. There would have been a lot of shit. Still would have gone down the same with Cinderella, or whatever. And some of the other revelations later on. But if he was just honest about it, I mean, he wouldn't have been dragged around like for weeks. That's not something that would have happened. It was his own lies that did that to him. So
I don't know. It's some of it was pretty touched. Like I didn't expect him to go on like Falgies the next day either. Like,
oh my god,
I'm not gonna lie, right? Like obviously, I don't know. I just couldn't like sleep that night anyways, and I think like Himpleton and I were like in the same boat. It's just like because I went on there like 4 to 5 in the morning. Like it was so fucking late. But like, dude, and we get this guy on again, and at first,
wait, what was the premise for that, Ace? Because I can't remember.
What, for getting him on again?
Yeah.
Because at first it started off like, he was just going to apologize for lying to Falgi.
It was the Avalon stuff.
And then the Avalon cuck stuff.
The Avalon cuck stuff.
Yeah, the cuck gay up. The literal gay up. But, so, like, that was, like, initially, like, we were just expecting, like, him to come on. Which, to be fair, admittedly, right, he did say, like, last night was the last night. All right, that's all I'm going to do. And I'm like, no, you should come on, bro. And he comes on. He's like, okay.
Well, and we to be fair, we gave like pretty decent reasons as to why, and I did maintain that I would never attempt to get him on a call again. And I have been
dude after your stream. Fuck me, dude.
I have been consistent with that. Like there have been other times like where more of the Avalon stuff came out where people were like, get IA on. And I was just like, no, he doesn't need to go on. Okay.
Yeah, because like with the Falgi stuff, at least it was like, because it's like, well, do you know about this? Like your literal manager like gay hopping you, dude? Like what the fuck is this? Like that was at least a reasoning. I didn't expect the call to go the way it did, where he essentially admitted to having sexual conversations with them before turning 18. Yeah. But whatever, man. Whatever. But I don't know. It was very there's no real reason to get them on a call anymore, because like I said on your stream, it's like the guy's admitted to being a pathological liar, and anything that comes up, I can't really trust him.
Yeah,
Like,
unless he has
genuinely.
absolute direct proof for it, there's no reason.
Yeah, like
I mean,
imagine like he gives you
Throwback
like
to the Zenova marketing
yeah, I was about
incident.
to mention
Okay, like,
that.
and for those who don't know about that, what happened with that is he, I reached out to him because someone, like a random chatter, sent me. So apparently, this management group that Avalon and Arctica run is called Zenova Management, and somebody sent me a link to a website called Zenova Marketing, and I was like, IA, is this, like, without a shadow of a doubt, is this their website? And he was like, yeah, uh-huh. And so then I did this like bit on stream where I like applied to be a member and had a phone call scheduled with them. Okay. And like went through their entire website and was like, dude, these people are freaks. They claim to have raised like hundreds of millions of dollars. And then I go in Dickers and I'm like, dude, this is crazy. Like, you should fucking look at this. And he was like, this is a marketing website. And I was like, yeah, but like, and then it just all started falling apart in front of me. I was like, wait, hold on. And he was like, who told you this is the real website? And I was like, internet adjacent. And I was like, and he was like, you are so fucking retarded. And then so then I go to IA and I'm like, IA, are you absolutely sure this is the website of Avalon and Arctica? And he was like, well, no. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? And like, I'm glad that it happened because it was so funny, but it's just like, it just goes to show, like, holy mother of God. And he wasn't even lying in that situation. He was just assuming, but still, it's just like, oh my God, if that was what like truly solidified it for me, even if it's something not related to him that doesn't benefit him at all, because he didn't even know what that website was. He never looked at it. He didn't know how bad it would have made them look if it was their website. But like, even if it's not something that is going to benefit in some way, if I do not see direct one-to-one proof for it, I don't believe it. I don't care. I don't believe it. Okay, like, oh my God.
No, yeah. I mean, the guy's a liar through and through. I mean, I remember when he sent me the images of his like busted up fist, saying that he got in a fight. And it's like he doesn't elaborate, he's just like acting like he's like walking around on the streets of London, just like beating up people. So funny, man. He's such a retard. But just wrapping up now, Himpleton. The last question I've got for you, right, is the boarding accusations, right?
Okay.
Well, wait. I hate to be a little plug cock here, but
Yeah,
can we
no,
talk,
worries.
Can we talk about Gwamgo real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
So while I was doing the research on Parlo and figuring out these like connections to Defender and to know the group that none of us talk about, I also was like, a lot of people were coming to me and being like, look into Gwamgo. I am not exaggerating when I say Gwamgo is so much worse than Parlo. Gwamgo makes Parlo look like a innocent, raped little child. Okay. Gwamgo
Actually, I will
is
tell you something. Because I think you'll actually find this quite interesting, Himpleton.
Mm-hmm.
So this was not public at all, but you know what? Fuck it, right? I hate Gwamgo anyways. So there was actually a chance, like someone, like one of his friends, I won't leak them out of respect to them, right? But one of Gwamgo's friends asked, for Amos, right, if they could confront Gwamgo about some of the controversies. You want to know how Gwamgo answered?
Did he answer at all?
Oh, he did. And he said, no, because they have nothing to take me down with, or something along those lines. Like it said the most egotistical fucking thing ever. It's like, those guys couldn't take me down.
And I am so glad that he said that, because in Amos and I's collaboration video that we are releasing pretty soon, we have evidence of him. So this is the kicker to it, and this is kind of the key like piece of evidence that I think is the worst thing that he's done. He admittedly falsely accused somebody of pedophilia, where he literally admitted to Parlo that he doesn't even know if the accusations of pedophilia that he publicly peddled on a thumbnail and video were true. He didn't know if they were true, but he still went with them anyway, and they were super shaky evidence that just is no one in their right mind would go for accusations like that. He was doing that simultaneously as he was doing that. He was in a group chat with someone who had CP of a 6-year-old. CP of
That's
a 6-year-old.
Yara, right?
Yaro. And has admitted that they had CP of a 6-year-old. Was in a group chat with this person to find docs information on Parlo. This person in this group chat repeatedly made attempts and bragged about attempts to swat Parlo in order to kill him. Repeatedly did stuff like he sent AICP. He sent a scantily clad child that was such a bad picture, and the caption of this picture was, "Hey guys, is this CP?" Which, like, why the fuck? What? But sends this picture. This picture is so bad that Defender, who we talked about earlier, who literally had blackmail of a 16-year-old CP, responded to it and said, "What the fuck is wrong with you? Take this image down." That's how bad it was.
At least it's got morals, man.
This is all in a group chat that Gwamgo's in. Gwamgo was playing Roblox with this guy and fraternizing with him, deleted all of his messages that he sent to him afterwards because he knew that what he did was wrong, repeatedly said, or not repeatedly, but said to Yaro that he is never going to make a video about it, that he's never going to report this guy to the police, and that at most he thinks that this guy should get mental health help. Yaro, in this group chat as well, was literally like venting about how he was so scared that the police were going to catch him with CP that he wiped his hard drive and threw it away and got a new one. That's how guilty this guy was. And this guy's willing to peddle false pedo allegations with very little evidence. To call it evidence is insane within itself. Like, really no evidence. While simultaneously interacting with and, like, essentially, like, sweeping for a guy who had CP of a 6-year-old. Like, this guy is horrible. He's a terrible person. So, we're going to be fucking exposing all of that. And, you know, Gwamgo's actually right in the fact that we're never going to be able to get him to respond by ourselves. That's not our aspiration at all.
Right.
What we want to do is we want to start a fire under the ass of people who are too afraid to talk about Gwamgo, who hate him. Because there are a lot of people who are way bigger than Amos, who is way bigger than me in the first place, way bigger than either of us, who hate Gwamgo. And they are looking for a legitimate opportunity to burn this guy, and that's what we want to do. We want to provide these people with a genuine opportunity to burn this guy. We don't want to be the people who make him respond. We want to be the people who start a chain reaction to get him to respond. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all, folks.
Well, at the time recording, how much have you done with the video?
So Amos had last night he was working on the intro. He's already done a ton of the research for it. I've helped out with some of that stuff behind the scenes. I'm going to be like, he's going to be doing kind of the meat of the script, and I'm going to be editing all of it. I'm doing one of the sections myself, specifically the Yaro stuff that I just spoke about. And I haven't like done that part yet, but I have it like fully prepared because I mean, obviously you just heard me talk about it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, the hope is that it is going to be ready in the next couple of weeks.
Well, that's good, man. And I'll be interested to see how Gwamgo tackles that. If he does it all. If it's something he actually decides to respond to. Because, I mean, Gwamgo's a slippery guy. I won't name names in the situation because I don't want to blast the guy's private stuff out. But one of the guys he was having beef with, one of Amos's friends, he doesn't have a problem, right? But I'd make fun of him for having like some type of addiction, right? Now Gwamgo decided to weaponize this, and when confronted about it, instead of taking the blame, he decided to push it all onto me, and tried claiming that I was the one that leaked it all publicly. When I never had, never spoken about it publicly. Never even spoke to Gwamgo about it ever. And he just used me as a scapegoat because this individual brought me up. He's an incredibly slimy, shady guy. He will do anything to get out of accountability. If he does respond at all. So I wouldn't be surprised if he tries to use someone as a scapegoat, if he tries to not even bother responding at all. Hoping it just kind of fades away.
He will only respond if, and even if this happens, there's still a chance that he won't, but he will only respond if bigger people take our information and use it. That's the only time this guy will respond. And even so, it's shaky at best whether he will. But Amos and I both agree that if he does respond because of that, it will probably mostly be targeted at us because of how small we are. Yeah. Which makes sense.
Well, yeah, I mean, you go for the little girl, right? I mean, it's kind of like the Pyrocynical tactic of you go for the people that are the smaller people, the people that are covering it, that are more likely to mess up rather than the bigger people that are going to have a bigger impact on you.
Yeah.
So, but getting to the end of the episode.
I don't want to run away from the balding accusations.
Yeah, the balding accusations, man. What's going on with that? Because I've got some brutal screenshots of you balding.
Listen, dude. Like and I hope that you show them on your episode. Okay, I hope you show the one that I showed you. This Parlo IA stuff has just been, it's really taken a toll on me. Okay, like it's been very stressful. Like sometimes I when I take a quick like piss break, which I do a lot on my streams because they're so long. Sometimes I just piss straight blood, and it's been very taxing on me. To the point where, especially recently, because I had Rose Malay on my stream, and that is one of the most taxing streams that I've ever had. And when I continuously put myself at risk for my audience, okay, like this, it just accelerates the loss of my hair. It's very sad, but it's true. I mean, I don't know how I'm gonna look in a couple of months, and I genuinely fear for it. But I will say, if it gets to a point where I can't hide it anymore, I am just gonna shave my head.
Shaved Himpleton look, Britney Spears.
No, it's gonna be more like American History X than Britney Spears. Let's be real, because I'm a tall, thin white guy, so everyone's gonna cross the street when they see me if it comes to that. Okay,
white supremacists look alike.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, go on. But
I'm prepared.
Yeah, no. Well, you got to be prepared, man. It's accelerating.
It is.
It's getting there.
It's dying.
Yeah. Poor guy. When does it get to the point where you can't hide it?
When, so the audio listeners or anybody who is just like, I guess, because I don't imagine that you're screen recording the call. I don't care if you are, obviously.
No.
I've been on camera this entire time. And so right now, it's not immediately obvious that I have a bald spot. Okay. But if I do this, for instance, okay, if it becomes a little bit more obvious, and that was me bending my head over and kind of displaying the spot. I'm able to cover it with my hair right now. If I'm not able to do that anymore, and it becomes like obvious no matter what my hair looks like, that is when that extreme change will take place. Because it's like, I don't want to be the guy who's like so obviously balding that you can like literally see it.
See, if it makes you feel more secure, the only reason I noticed that bald spot throughout this camera is because my hair's also thinning. It
happens, man.
I feel like my hair is doing the complete opposite.
No, you're growing. You're growing outwards. Right? You're not thinning. Right? You're just growing, mate.
Dude, I mean, you saw the email pic, dude. It's so bad.
Dude, the whoppers are like making his hair growth, better.
I'm not
aiming to see whoppers.
giant brown bear. But Himpleton, bro, that wraps up the over 2 hour podcast.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Dude.
This one can actually go out.
Yeah. I'm excited to finally actually have a real trash talk
Job.
episode that I'm the focus of. Okay.
Yeah, the rape in this one was good. It wasn't bad.
Yes, it was a good
So,
one.
yeah, the lyrics talk was good instead of bad. So, you can actually go out this time.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you coming on for
Yeah,
2 odd hours.
Yeah. Thanks
talk
for having
everything rape and gay stuff, man.
Yeah. Lots of gay, lots of rape.
No, exactly. And thank you everybody for watching today's episode of the Trash Talk podcast.
Wait.
It's been a while. What do you want now? Ace? Hello?
What? What, dude? Jesus.
Okay.
I made you stop.
Oh my god.
All I have to say is 2 people's names and you are fucked.
No, stop.
So you
better
Stop.
pipe down.
Stop.
You better pipe down.
Sam,
Right.
Sam, can the next rape episode where you rape somebody, can it be on Ace, please?
Yeah. I will gay off him with 2 people that he doesn't like.
Yeah.
Now hold
Hell
on
yeah.
a second.
Yeah. I'm messaging him now.
Stop. Okay. End the episode.
They're probably out walking each other, right? I will message him. Well, thank you for watching today's episode of Trash Talk. It's been a while. It's been a good couple of months. So I come back with an exclusive scoop and 2 hours of rape. It's been pretty good. And fucking, I hate you, Ash. I hate you. It was easy when you were here. But I will catch you all in the next episode of the Trash Talk podcast. Goodbye.